سعيد جدا أن أراكم مرة أخرى.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it really turns my stomach to see it, but what are you going to do? Joining us now is Bill Donohue, president of the Catholic League, Newsmax contributor, author of The Catholic Advantage. And Bill, great to see you as always, my friend.
How you doing, Steve?
All right, look, I mean, I am so disappointed in the Pope. A couple of movements here, recognizing a Palestinian state, and then meeting with Abbas, as we just saw. And there's some debate. First, the reports were that he called them an angel of peace when he gave him some kind of medal, or
right.
and then I heard from my senior producer, who I have total confidence in, that was erroneous. He actually didn't say that. But let's start with the recognizing of the Palestinian state. I don't understand. Tell me the logic behind it, because Catholics, Christians, they can't live on the West Bank. They can't have a community on the West Bank. They can't live in the Gaza Strip. You're not gonna have a church in the Gaza Strip. So why spit in the face, in effect, of Israel, who protects all the Christian holy sites and has an open society where everybody's welcome? I don't get it.
Well, you're right about what Israel has done in protecting the Christian holy sites. I can only say this, that John Paul II was a good man. Pope John Paul II, he met 12 times with Yasser Arafat, who was an absolute terrorist, without question.
The biggest killer of Jews since Hitler.
Absolutely. Yeah. Then you had Pope Benedict XVI, who did refer to it as the State of Palestine. I personally have a problem with that. There is no such thing as the State of Palestine. And I think the idea of trying to foist this by the international community, now with the Pope in tow, is not the way to go about it. The only way you're going to get reconciliation there is for the parties who are there on the ground to sit down there with it. I think maybe some people make too much of it. On the other hand, look, I know that the Pope's motives are benign, but the fact of the matter is, why couldn't he or somebody else in the Vatican say something to the effect that we've got to recognize the state of Israel before we recognize the state of Palestine and their right to exist? We all know the history of what's gone on there. Israel has a right to exist. It seems to me that should be the beginning platform of every discussion.
So okay, so the Vatican has recognized Israel, correct?
Right.
Okay, and you want the Palestinians to recognize Israel's right to exist?
Absolutely.
Yeah, before they recognize Palestine.
Absolutely.
Or a Palestinian state. But the difference between the world we're living in today, I believe, and the other popes that you mentioned, and what they've done and what they've said. I mean, this is official recognition, number one, and this comes where Christians, as we've talked about so many times, are being slaughtered all over the world by Muslims. Here you have a man that, if we take it to the next word, that you saw the Pope embracing and kissing, whether he called him an angel of peace or not, who names squares and soccer stadiums and streets after martyrs who slaughtered Jews in cold blood. So I just don't see how, in this climate of Christians being killed by Muslims in the name of whether it's ISIS or others, and churches being burned all over the world and persecution going on, how do you embrace somebody who practices that and condones that against Jews?
Well, you know, I guess the Pope doesn't want to get right in the thick of it in terms of the weeds between Jews and Palestinians on this. But on the other hand, how can you not once you take this kind of level of recognition? I'm a little concerned about what's going to happen in the fall, because it's going to go before the United Nations. Right. Of course, it's going to be down in Washington,
and now
DC.
Obama could say, "Well, the Pope did it." You know.
Look, it doesn't pass my radar screen, okay? I've never seen so many anti-Catholics embrace this Pope, so which makes me kind of wonder, why are they, what is it about him that they tend to like? Look, he's a good man. I think that he leans left on political and economic issues. I don't see so much maybe on the cultural. We're going to see about that in October with the Synod. But he's got a lot of people scratching their head.
Well, and we could extend it from not just, again, Israel and Mahmoud Abbas. And you know, he basically said what Obama said about Abbas, calling him a man of peace, which is just mind-boggling. Man denies the Holocaust and like I said, celebrates martyrs and encourages killing of Jews. But this Pope, it's not just you know, one of the members of our staff, the executive producer, was at the Vatican not too long ago for a press event, Michael, and he told me that you know, he made it clear that there are a lot of people that, you know, have a problem with the Pope, some of the Pope's left-wing ideologies, and it was dismissed to Michael, oh, those are right-wingers, but people on the right tend to be the ones in the pews, correct?
They're the ones who pay the bills,
yeah.
All right? There's no question about that. The most faithful Catholics, the ones who pay the bills, tend to be much more orthodox as opposed to being heterodox like some Catholics are. And I don't know if that sits too well over there in the Vatican. Look, the Vatican has long had a certain kind of an anti-American animus to begin with. And so I'm concerned that when you have a left-leaning pope, that doesn't actually become magnified.
You wrote a piece, Letterman, and you took Letterman to task, good riddance basically, and Louis C.K. for what he did on Saturday Night Live. Go ahead.
Well, Louis C.K., I'm glad that he didn't get the warm reception, and I'm glad he didn't get it because he's making fun and making light of child molestation. Well, as I pointed out today to readers, I said 5 years ago, I'm not going to repeat it on the air, but he used the F word to talk about Pope Benedict and children.
Right, boys.
So I'd like to know, why does this man have child rape on his mind, Louis C.K.? And as far as Letterman is concerned, I was delighted about one thing. Yesterday, he sat down with Jane Pauley, and he said, I don't think you're going to ever hear from me again. I would hope that that is, in fact, the case. We have a whole litany of his anti-Catholic statements, particularly about priests. Again, he gets away with this because the elites tolerate, if not accept, anti-Catholicism. We at the Catholic League have had a problem with some of the cartoons against Islamists, okay, and against the Islamic religion, not just even Islamist, because I want to try and be fair about this. I'm against bigotry against any particular group. But it seems to me, anytime you have a discussion about bigotry, and that's why I'm disappointed here with the Vatican response, the first thing you have to say is this. If you're going to talk about a Palestinian state, go ahead and do it. Make sure that you recognize Israel before we ask anybody to recognize Palestine.
Right. All right. There he is, the one and only Bill Donohue, ladies and gentlemen. Always great to see you, my friend. Up next, folks, the editor-at-large of the Daily Beast, Lloyd Grove, will be here. Don't go away.